Oh, I don't care. Upstate New York, is that what that's what I put? I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So you're from upstate New York?
Yes,
Okay. And that's where the encounter happened?
yes.
Okay, so like what kind of happened on that day?
Well, what happened was I wanted to go horseback riding. It was a weekend. And I had asked my sister if she wanted to go horseback riding with me. And she had said no. It was early morning. It was about six in the morning, just before the sun came up. It was about early dawn, and she said, "I'm tired. I'm going back to bed. If you want to go by yourself." So I said, "Okay." So I went out. I was going to take my horse, and if she went, she would have taken her horse.
Right.
But so instead, I took her horse. So I saddled up her horse, and I used her horse because my horse is a little skimmish on the roads by itself.
Okay.
So I saddled up her horse, and I took her horse. And as soon as I came to the first bend in the road, she started acting up. And, she acts up sometimes, if she's in heat, or if she doesn't want to listen to you. And that's what I thought she was. She was coming in heat, or if she was just being a little brat and she didn't want to listen to me, So I kicked her in her sides and slapped her on the rear end with the reins, and so she jumped forward around the bend. And what happened was she started pawing the ground and snorting through her nose, and all of a sudden I got like this. My hair on the back of my neck started, like raising up, and I got my hair on the arm started. You know how your hair on your arms will start standing up, and
Yes.
I knew something wasn't right. So for some known reason, I caught something at the peripheral of my eye.
Right.
So I looked off to my right, and I swear to God, I seen this huge thing. And at first I thought it was a bear, but then I said to myself, what bear stands on its hind legs and walks? I mean, I know a bear can, but not for a long distance, it can't.
Right.
So I looked off to my right, and all of a sudden I seen this huge thing. It must have been 7-8 feet tall, and it couldn't have been more than 40 feet from me. And I know what my eyes saw. And so what happened was I got so scared. The horse was scared. I wheeled her around and flew all the way back to the house, and I slowed her down enough where I could just jump off of her, and I ran into the house, and I just let her go, and she flew right to the barn. And I ran upstairs and to my mom and dad's bedroom, and I just sat on the end of the bed and put my head in my hands, and I just started crying. And Mom jumped up. She sat up in bed and she said, "Lori, are you okay?" And I didn't answer her. She says, "Lori, are you okay?" And I just started crying. Tears were just flowing. I mean, and she woke up my dad, and she says, "There's something wrong with your daughter. You need to talk to her." And my dad goes, "Honey, what is wrong?" And I looked at my dad, and I'm white as a ghost and crying and shaking, and my dad goes, "Can you answer your mom? What is wrong?" so I spilled it all out. And my dad goes, "Oh, you're nuts. You're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about." And my mother goes, "Look at your daughter. She's crying. She's white as a ghost. She's shaking. She's not crazy. She sees something. Something's out there." And so Dad goes, "Go on out. Let me and your mother get dressed, and we'll be right out. I'll go check this out." And so I went to the bathroom, washed my face off, and what happened was they got dressed. Dad grabbed his 32 Winchester. He goes, "Are you done in the bathroom?" And I said, "Yes." So he goes, "Come on, you're coming with us." So all three of us got in his truck, and we went down where I seen this. And he goes, "Come walk out with me and show me." I said, "I'm not going out there." And so Dad goes, "Okay, you sit in the truck." And my dad was brave enough, and he says, "I'll go out there. Just point to me where you see this." And so I pointed right over to the edge of the woods, alongside, at the edge of the hayfield. I said, "Right over there." So my dad went down there with the shotgun, and he walked, and he could see, and the hay was already standing waist deep, and my dad could see where this creature thing walked, and could see where its footprints laid down the hay, and he said his feet could, where he tried to step, and he couldn't even step. His feet could not step the way this thing had made the strides. That's how big the strides were of this thing. And it went all the way up, and it went up the ridge. There's like a big ridge, but there was like a trail going up the ridge, and it followed that. It went right up the trail, right up the ridge and over.
Goodness.
Yeah. I tell you what, I was never so scared in my life.
Oh, I bet not. People don't understand. Whenever you have your first encounter, it's very, very scary. I mean, I'll always remember what happened to me my first time.
And it took me a year and a half before I'd ever go horseback riding by myself again. My sister always had to get up and go with me.
So did it have like long hair, or was it just like longish hair, or how would you?
It had long brown hair.
Long brown.
Like
hair.
A brownish reddish hair. Yes. Oh yes. And I could see it. I saw its face and everything. It had no hair on its face, and it had long fingers, like long fingers. Yes.
Did it? What did its face look like?
It looked almost like I want to say almost like a monkey's face, or more like a humanish face. And its head like, it had no neck. It just like sat on its shoulders.
Right.
And its arms like just swung back and forth, like it was just walking. And its legs were bent.
Did it have a snout? Did you notice it had a snout?
No snout. No.
Had y'all been hearing anything in the area before you had this first encounter, or anything weird happen in the area, or out of the ordinary, or even neighbors or anybody?
I've heard talk that where was it? It was going out of town, going towards I want to say Watertown area, that another person had an incident of them seeing one of them jumping out in the road and picking up a deer. But that's the only incident I've ever heard. But this was way back in the 70s.
So, do you all live in like the suburbs, on a farm in the country?
Yes, yes, a dairy farm.
Dairy farm. Did any of y'all's cows or anything ever end up getting injured or anything like that? Any of them come up missing?
No. No. The only thing somebody somebody had said is that they're moving down towards this way is because of where they're at is all their wooded where they're at right now is all their wooded land is being cut down. That's why they're moving down towards this way. But I don't see how, because they're mostly in the Adirondack Mountains, and there's a lot of wooded area in the Adirondack Mountains.
Right. Like, do y'all do you miss any feed or anything? Do y'all ever come up missing feed from your animals or anything like that?
No, not that I've heard. No. See, that was the first encounter I've ever had was that one incident right there, and then I've had two other encounters with my two younger sisters. One sister passed away, and my youngest sister is still alive today. But I had another encounter with her.
Sorry about your other sister.
Yeah, she got cancer and she passed away 4 years ago. And it was an incident with her and my youngest sister that I had an incident with, and another incident with my youngest sister and my older sister I had an encounter with.
Was they in the same area?
Yeah, but it was out back by a huge pond my older sister said, "Hey, you want to go see a sugar shack, an old sugar shack that she come across?"
Right.
And we all said, me and my youngest sister said, "Yeah, sure." She got us lost and said it's out towards this way, and then all of a sudden the horses started acting up. And I said, she got us lost, and the horses started acting up, and me and my youngest sister looked over our shoulders, and we saw this thing looking at us, going and looking for this sugar shack. And I had said, we have something watching us, over our left shoulder. And my older sister said, "Oh, you're crazy." I said, "No, look over your left shoulder." And she goes, "Oh my God," and she was started to freak out. And she goes, "Well, let's get the heck out of here." And she couldn't find her way out, so we were stuck. And she goes, "Well, how do we?" I go, "You're going the wrong way. We came from this way." And she was taking us further, getting lost. And she goes, "No, it's this way." I said, "You go that way. We're going this way."
Right. So did it look like the same one you had seen at the other location? Do you think it was the same one?
I don't know if it was the same one or a different one. I really don't know.
Were the colors the same?
The color was the same, yes. But it was well hidden behind trees that we didn't get a good look at it.
Right. And what was the other incident?
The other incident was where me and my two sisters' mom had asked us to go down the road. You had to walk maybe a half a mile down the road. And we had friends. There's another road that led off our road. You had to take this road down between a wood. They made they cut out a clearing where they made a road, and that road led down into a big field. And they bought the property, a big meadow. They bought the property because after you drove down or walked down this road that they made, there was a big field down there, and they bought the property to build a house down in there. And then from connecting, there's another field connecting to their field, and that field beyond that, the field that was connecting beyond that was another great big huge cornfield. Well, as me and my sisters were walking down that car path, or that road that they made, we got halfway down that road, and to that cornfield on the other side of the meadow where they were actually living in a camp, a tent. we were going to their tent to invite them up for dinner, and all of a sudden, my eyes caught, like I said, this thing walking, and I said to my sister, "Hey, do you see that thing over there walking?" And my sister squinting her eyes. She goes, "Oh my gosh, yeah." I said, "Do you see it?" And my other sister's going, and she said, "Yeah, I see it too." And we're all staring at this thing, and all of a sudden this thing sees us, and it starts coming right. It starts walking towards us, and my sister at the time, my youngest sister was like, I don't know. At that time, she was, I think, 8 or 9, and my other sister was 11 or 12, and we all take off running. This thing scared us so bad because it was actually seeing us, and it was coming towards us, and we all took off running. Well, we got to this great big hill because you have to run up this great big huge hill, and then when you got to the top of the hill, it was all downhill going, and my sister froze, and here this thing is coming up the other road onto the road we're on, and my sister's looking back screaming me and my other sister are on top of this hill, and she's screaming down on the bottom of the hill, "I can't move, I'm froze, it's coming for me." So me and my other sister, my youngest sister, had to run back down the hill and grab her and pull her all the way up the hill, and we ran all the way home. And we told Mom what happened. Mom goes, "Okay, you guys aren't going down. You guys, I don't want you going any place anymore. No riding horses around." She goes, "I don't know what's going on, but this is like the third time you've seen something like this."
So, did it look the same? Also, was the same color?
It was like this one was like a darker brownish color. And I know it's not a bear because we don't have any brown bears in our area. We have like black bears here.
Right. And was it bipedal when it was coming towards y'all also?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Mm-hmm.
And was it moving pretty fast, or?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, a bear wouldn't be able to be bipedal and be able to
not
move
for that
like
long
that.
a distance.
Right. So no more encounters after that.
No, that was the last encounter that I've ever had. But I still won't go. I won't go outside until after the sun comes up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I still won't go outside at night because at night I do still hear stuff at night. Like I'll still hear. Even if you open the door or something, you can still hear some strange noises, and I don't know what they are. They're like really strange noises, and I'll call up my dad or something, because I live alone, and I'll call up my dad and I'll say, "Dad, do you hear that noise? Go out to your porch or something. Do you hear that noise?" And my dad goes, "Yeah." I said, "What is it?" And Dad goes, "I don't know. It's nothing I've ever heard before."
Is it like like something alive that's making the noises, or is it like a mechanical noise, like something hitting a tree or something like that?
No, it's a vocal. It's like, it could be like a baby crying, but I know panthers make that sound too, or bobcats can make the sound too of a woman crying or a baby crying, or I know we have bobcats here, and we have panthers, and fox can make an awful strange noise, but I don't think it sounds anything like that.
Yeah, Bigfoot's known for making the baby crying noises. In one of my videos, I had a bad encounter where I had a baby crying noise. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it was...
Yeah, I watched all of your videos.
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy incident. It got kind of scary in there. I would say that you probably...
That's one reason why I won't go outside after dark.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that. I would strongly recommend not to go out alone, especially after dark.
If my dog wants to go out, I open the door and let her out, and if I call her and she doesn't come in, she stays out all night.
Right. Yeah, you definitely want to protect yourself being home alone and everything. I think you probably got some visitors that came down, maybe got interested in your place, maybe out of the woods, and I would say they're probably not there every night, but I think that they're definitely interested in your place, maybe even you because you were a child, as they done my mom. She had an encounter around 15, 16 years old, and to this day, when she goes in the woods in the same area, it seems to find her and harass her. So I think they don't ever
Right.
forget. Uh,
I don't know, but and there's, my dad knows about it. My younger sister knows about it, and my mom knows about it, but she passed away in 91.
I'm sorry to hear
And
that.
the only other person that knew about it was my uncle, and he passed away. And he would, when he always came up, he goes, "Have you?" He would always tease me about it. Have you seen any more Bigfoot, or you got any more Bigfoot stories for me? If I told somebody about this, they think I'm crazy, and they'd want to put me in a straitjacket.
That's the problem is they've tried to hide it for so long that that's the game they play. They try to criminalize you or make you look, insane or a psycho or mentally unstable or anything because you see these things, and that's just one of their tactics to keep people quiet.
Oh yes, and you know what? I never was a believer, but now I am.
Right, and I've heard that a lot. A lot of people say, "Oh, I never believed. I never believed." I had a person that didn't believe. It's actually my brother-in-law now. He didn't believe at all, and we took him out, and he had a huge encounter in the woods. Actually, I'm going back this fall, and he won't even go in the woods with us no more. He absolutely refuses. So,
And I used to be an avid hunter. I used to, I loved deer hunting. Nope, won't catch me out in those woods anymore.
right. See, I'm the one that's probably got a screw loose, maybe because I still go hunting. I'm out there in the dark till the sun comes up alone. I do a lot of my investigations alone now. I notice y'all have noticed that, but the girls haven't went with me in a few times, and I'm not going to stop doing it. It's a thing that I've always wondered and wanted the truth too. And ever since I was very young and dealing with it at such a young age, I had so many questions as to what it is, why would it do this, where does it live, what does it eat, how does it
Right.
hide?
Well, I'm curious, but
Right,
I'm not that curious. They can, whatever it is, it can stay right there.
right. And maybe a lot of mine is, and I've had people tell me is, I spent all my life. I never had time. I never partied or drank or done any of that stuff because as soon as I turned 18, I went to work in law enforcement. And I wasn't old
Right.
enough at 18 to be on the streets, but I was old enough that I was able to work inside until I got old enough to be able to go out on the streets. And from the age of 18 and until I got hurt on duty, in the line of duty, I worked over 18 years and I was hurt on duty. And I've always had an interest in whatever it be as to learning why, how come, why would it do this,
Mhm.
what was the reasoning for it. And then when I ended my career, I was actually an investigator, and
Right.
it just the questions and not knowing is what really makes me pursue it because I'm like you. Unless somebody has seen it and have witnessed it for yourself, you know it's there because we know what we have seen. We know
Right.
it's the people, and a lot of the people I think that say, "Oh, you're crazy," if you think you're seeing this or whatever. But those people, they probably know it's there, but they're part of the institution that's trying to hide it, that is trying to label us as a certain type of uncredible persons to be able to try to keep people silent about their encounters. That's, of course, my opinion. But
Right. Well, my dad, when we had the dairy farm, see, I had four sisters, and we all grew up on a dairy farm. And when we had the farm, we had this great big, huge pond. And one summer, we used to take the horses back there, and we'd take the horses swimming. We'd go on their back, and we'd take them through the pond, and take them swimming in the water. Well, the pond my dad used to be an avid trapper, and he used to trap and he used to hunt. Now he's older where his asthma's bad and he has COPD and everything. He doesn't do it anymore. But when that one year that pond dried up pretty good, and my dad goes, "Well, he told my mom, I'm going to go out there, take a walk, and see how that pond's doing." Well, my dad took a walk, and he took his walking stick with him, and he took a walk back there, and it's probably good. It was probably a mile walk back to that pond. And around the edge of that pond, it was all dried up. I mean, the pond was almost completely dried. And so he walked around the pond, and he's seen these great big, huge footprints. And my dad said those footprints were so big, it would look like a human walked out there barefoot. But my dad has a size 11, and my dad said those footprints were probably 13 inches long.
Right. Was your dad a trapper at the time you first had this encounter?
Yes, he was.
I have another theory now. I think maybe your dad trapping and been in the woods a lot. I think there's a good possibility that they didn't just come to your house out of just running across it. I think they probably followed your dad home. I bet your dad was in an area that they were in, and he was probably trapping, and they have their areas that they like to find their food source, their water sources, and if your dad's a trapper, he's also going to be in those areas that are plentiful in game trails and game, and that's what they do.
Oh, very could well be.
So I'm starting to wonder now if maybe he didn't go somewhere and he got what they call a hitchhiker and it followed him back. That would be a theory of mine for sure, because
But why would it have followed me?
I think probably what happens is they follow somebody back, because I have a case I'm going to write about in my book. It's a personal case to where a creature followed a family member back, and after it followed that family member back, that family member was a male, and it didn't bother the male no more, but it became very infatuated with the girls, and with one girl in particular was even worse, and that was my mom. So I think they may follow him back out of curiosity, and whenever they follow back, they find something else that piques their curiosity even more, and then you have this cycle.
Oh, maybe.
That would be my, So I'm sure whatever it is, it recognizes your dad's scent along with your scent because it knows you like that. And
right.
I would even be careful. You say your dad doesn't get around well anymore and is slightly disabled.
Yes.
I would strongly advise you to keep him out of the woods by himself.
Oh, he doesn't go into the woods anymore. He doesn't even hunt anymore. He can't.
Good. Because from research and everything, that is what it prefers, is somebody that has disabilities.
Well, I have a disability too now. I have rheumatoid arthritis.
Right.
And I have to use a wheelchair as of right now because the arthritis went into my joints.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I don't walk very well. And I have to have the arthritis damaged my joints in my knees, and I have to have a knee replacement. And they won't do the knee replacement because I'm like 54, and they don't like to do it on my age, my age group, because they say it only lasts like 10 years, and you have to have it redone again, and you can only have it done twice twice. You can only have it done 2 times.
Right.
And so they like to do it when you're around 65.
Right. Well, don't be outside by your all selves having those.
I will not go outside. I'm surrounded by woods. I will not go outside at night.
Yeah, don't. I would highly recommend not to do that because I would say that it is probably preying on you. It's probably what it's doing around your house right now. I'm not trying to scare you,
Well, I'm scared enough being here alone by myself, so.
but I would say that it is definitely watching you for. And I believe they're opportunists, and I believe that that's probably what it's looking for.
Well, one thing is I got my dog, and she will alert me if something's in my yard or lurking around.
Right.
You
Okay.
know, so
Okay.
I got her sort of for protection.
Good. All right. Well, I'm going to end this part of the podcast. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording.